As we discussed earlier regarding the definition that diverse and the context of our region in Southeast Asia, now I'd like to bring all of you to have a look at the comprehensive solution or the suggestion that already discussed in many programs, many reports in not only Southeast Asia but also all over the globe. So we know that people in the society learn that no one is born a violent extremist. They are made and formed. Disarming the process of radicalization must begin with human rights and the rule of law, with dialogue across boundary line, by empowering all young people, women, men, and youth, and by starting as early as possible. So this is the comprehensive solution. So then, in preventing their radicalization and better counter the threats of terrorism, global community can focus on priorities of direction to direct relevance to different approach. I have 3 relevant approach to suggest in this regard. The first one is through education and skill development and employment facilitation. Education is a tool to prevent violent extremism. Global community could assist countries to deliver educational programs that build young people to resilience to violent extremism, messaging, and also fostering the positive sense of identity and belonging. So the framework of global citizenship and citizenship education could apply and can help us to learn and live together. In nurture respect of all and understanding the connectivity between the local and global. To have active role and concern about global challenging as well as contributing to major, just, and tolerant. So this can be learned inside and outside of educational institution, either in the school or outside of the school. We also need to learn from survivor, and we also need to support them. There are so many programs of international NGOs, local NGOs working with the survivor of violent extremism. So we need to work with them as well. The means to prevent violent extremism, including the action by school, by families, by the communities. These can help the students and young people to develop resilience to violent extremism and radicalization. These include providing young people with the knowledge, with the skill, with attitudes and values that fostering tolerance, empathy, critical thinking, and global citizenship can also make ability for us to take opportunity into action against violent extremism as well. The recognition of the primary role of education in preventing violent extremism among young people should lead to the change of the mindset in the government as well as within the education sector itself. Within the government, education's elevated standing as the primary players in preventing violent extremism, on par with the police, with the courts, with different other related sector, must be reflected in National Action Plan or in NAP, in prevention, countering radicalization and violent extremism. So the role, the mandate, the scope, and the responsibility of educational sector must be taken into consideration. The state has to ensure that young people studying in institutions of the learning are taught value. So this means that the education sector should envision and plan to protect young people against radicalization to violence in the future. So go to the next strategy or the solution that provide by different organization, report, and program is empowering women and young generation to recognize the nature of women's agency is also important. So to build up the resilient society, it is need to engage young people and women. These are essential partners to prevent them being exploited by radical movement. Women and youth participation can create an enabling environment of empowerment and democratic participation. In order to ensure that women and young people have opportunities to become active citizens, the network can be a platform for several sectors, practitioners as well, to work in preventing violent extremism and related matters. It is going to be enabled and being able to exchange knowledge and good practice among people who have involved in the program. So gender should be utilized in this regard on both online and offline PCRVE initiatives, as the global study of the implementation of the United Nations Security Council Resolution 1325, focusing on countering violent extremism while respecting rights and autonomy of women and their communities. It is highlighted that in understanding women's desire to become a member of violent extremism group, it is also critical to recognize the nature of women agency, as I mentioned earlier about the focus of 1325 or Women, Peace and Security agenda. It needs to understand and concern about the nature of women's agency. So to women, especially women who are mothers, they have particular role and being acknowledged as influential actors in leading youth either away or towards violent extremism. On the one hand, there have been mothers programs that have been involved in fighting terrorism, such as the Paiman Alumni Trust in Pakistan. Furthermore, the LINA or the Liga Inong Aceh as the ex-combatant, as well as the Balai Syara Orang Inong Aceh in Indonesia. These programs or this organization provide and have good example to show us the voices of women, especially the mothers of the victims of violent extremism. And there are so many perpetrators who have a powerful and they narrate the narratives. These kind of narratives could also bring as the source to counter the narrative of violent extremism and to promote peace in our society. So going to the next comprehensive solution is applying strategic communication. So it is not denied in our current situation. And the media and online coalition for preventing violent extremism leading to terrorism are applied by many organizations to mobilize stakeholders, particularly young people, policymakers, researchers, media actors, and to take effective action. These people can apply the online and also offline tool to work against violent extremism. It can be generate a wave of solidarity as well, because the technology can make it easier for radicals and extremists to spread propaganda and recruit online communication. People need to share critical information about the threats. With private sector, we need to work in order to prevent the misuse of these new technologies, because perpetrators of violent extremism depict a picture that ideological, community-based, and also psychological factors have an effect on their extremism trajectory. So the way in which online initiatives are applied and require the consideration of gender and contextual aspect in order to exclusively tackle recruitment to extremism and radicalization. So overall, it is urgent and need to revisit the role of different sectors. I mentioned a lot, and we know a lot as well. The role of civil society is important. Not only the civil society, but also the security, the education, the academic, and the state to prevent and countering radicalization, including violent extremism. The private sector is important as well to have the strong coalition with grassroots level, especially the civil society organization, the government, and different other key international programs and regional actors. As I mentioned, the region, our region in Southeast Asia, it is urgent for us as the Southeast Asia agency to work and create the broad social and political climate, the broader climate, the friendly political climate to support the sustainable peace. So I think for today's discussion, it is very important for us to think further and to work together in the future. Thank you very much.